Loneliness kills. Literally, they say that loneliness is one of the biggest markers of mortality. Feeling lonely is equivalent, apparently, to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases the risk of death even more than, say, obesity, alcohol consumption, or lack of exercise. Lonely people are 50% more likely to die prematurely than happy and social people. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest running studies in the world on answering the question, what makes a good life, leads to the same conclusion as all those other studies on loneliness. Known for its consistent study of more than 1,000 subjects throughout their lives, they gathered data on not only their physical and mental health throughout those stages, but everything that may correlate with the choices and decisions they follow in their lives. Childhood, mood levels, career prospects, financial success, daily habits, and of course, their social circle. It concludes that the warmth level of their relationships, the closeness of the subjects with those of other people around them, is not only closely correlated to their financial success, with those scoring the highest on that warmth meter earning significantly more than others at their peak earning years, but also with a flourishing and happy life. The people with the warmest relationships in their lives felt the happiest and also lived the longest. Strong relationships were far and away the biggest predictors of long and satisfying lives, more so than social class, wealth, fame, IQ, or even genetics. Of course, those do help to attain more satisfying lives, though, it's pretty obvious. Those do help. I think it's also important to note the biggest flaw of this study, which are the subjects, especially the first 268, who were all Harvard undergraduates. They're all people who already have had numerous advantages in their lives, simply by income or the environment they were born in, or etc., etc. If you make it into Harvard at a normal university age, then it's pretty likely you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Of course, taking that bias into account, I've checked up on other studies on the subject of loneliness or what makes a good life, and they've all agreed on the same answer. Relationships are pretty much everything to us. I think we all know this answer already, but it's nice to have, that scientific backing once in a while just to support our claims. High relationship satisfaction has proven benefits on most, if not all, areas of life, and thus are very, very important to living a good life, as we call it. I'd even go as far and say it's a basic human need. If this is true, how do we explain what's happening right now? Nearly 1/3 of Americans report no interactions with their neighbors. The number of people who have no close friends quadrupled from 1990. 63% of young men are single. I feel we are becoming more individualistic as time passes, with everything we pursue in life having the end goal of serving ourselves. But that's always been true. I think we all want to serve ourselves in the end. We all want ourselves to reap the benefits, right? Of living a life in general. But because of this focus on individuality, I feel we ignore a lot of what other people are doing. As long as it doesn't harm anybody, it's fine, right? When we stop caring about other people's opinions, it has the side effect of making us not care about people at all. I agree that authenticity and independence are values that should be integrated into each of our lives, since self-actualization also leads to happiness. But at the same time, we become so busy with ourselves that we see others as a distraction. We become less tolerant as well. If they do not make me happy, they're not worth the effort. We care less about helping people with their own happiness than helping ours first. I mean, this is not a fully conclusive argument on why we should start caring about other people's opinions, because some people's opinions are just... But it's nice to know the side effects of this individuality we all prioritize, because it might not be for everyone. I think it's impossible to pinpoint the exact reasons why there's more loneliness now than ever before. I'll try to quickly go through all of the main causes, but I might miss some, or I might badly explained some, but it doesn't matter. This isn't the point of this video, it's just for extra knowledge. First off, I've talked about this before, but technological advancement in society helped us distract ourselves from what is actually important in our lives. We are more in a society of constant growth and consumption, and if technology is closely linked to constant growth, then of course they'll find ways to steal our attention from us. And this prevents us from focusing on relationships in our lives. Economical struggle, where late-stage capitalism can sort of prevent us from forming the stability needed to build profound relationships. There's also political division and extremism, which can cause a lot of mistrust throughout society, and cause us to not trust our neighbors anymore and be careful of who we associate with. Globalization, which made us free to choose our own identities and belong anywhere, which is super cool. But it also caused the disappearance of close bounded communities. We don't have any clear and permanent identities attached to our communities anymore, which can cause a lot of people to feel lost and without purpose in their own lives. And of course, let's not forget the pandemic, which mostly magnified those events, magnified the consequences of those events tenfold, and caused even more loneliness combined with these events. The younger generations are unfortunately the ones taking most of the brunt of these events, because we are probably in the most significant time of our lives to build close relationships, and the tools and things that previous generations had access to build these relationships are less available to us right now. So what? I've described the causes, but there aren't any easy solutions to do as a lonely individual. It all needs massive systemic change that can only be done if, ironically, people come together and change those. But in any decade, century, or millennia, we can always strive to try to live a better life. All of this does not mean we have to stop living. We just have to try a little bit harder than before to try to pursue the lives we want to live. So now I want to talk about friendships, a type of relationship that is often misunderstood today and seen, as something less important than before. It's often brushed to the side on our priorities list. I think most of the other types of relationships are things we are obligated to conform to. We have family, we need to take care of them. Of course we love them, but we're born with them. There's also coworkers or classmates, which obviously you're stuck in the same environment as them. And last but not least, love relationships, which obviously fulfill a basic desire. So what are friendships for exactly? I don't think they serve any inherent purpose if I think about it. Friendships are probably one of the most special types of relationships because, like I said, they don't serve really any purpose in the end. We're just hanging out with other people because it's fun. It can seem like a waste of time because their only purpose is to have fun, and you're also dealing with a lot of other people with their own thoughts and ideas, not an echo chamber, which can be difficult on a lot of people. It's also very difficult to focus on what you want to accomplish out of this life if you're always spending time with people having fun and doing nothing productive. I constantly ask myself about what I want to accomplish in this short life I've been given, and also to filter all those things I want to accomplish through the filter of what I can control. My whole weekends are always filled because of my decision to prioritize relationships, to always say yes to events, to always be there for people. It has the consequence of me not being able to spend time on a lot of my personal projects. I also have a full-time job, household chores, financial responsibilities. So of course I don't have a lot of time to spend on personal goals as I would like to have sometimes. But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. It's the life I enjoy the most right now. And to me, life is relationships. It's how you intersect and connect with other people. It's also about balance. Sometimes you spend way too much time on relationships because we do want to have a certain sense of self-actualization, sense of accomplishment somewhere in our lives, right? I never stopped working towards those personal goals. It's just, it'll take a bit more patience than I expected. and that's fine. Of course, ideally, it's nice to be around people that share the same hobbies and goals that you have. It's much easier to trust people when they share the same struggles you have, and you build a sort of camaraderie with those same people in your shared pursuits. That's why it's easier to build friends within the same school, workplace, or hobby. But there's a sort of profoundness to relationships that are able to transcend that initial connection we have. A lot of friend groups split apart, and that's because eventually we all change. We change our hobbies, we change our lifestyle, we change our goals, and well, we have no reason to hang out with them anymore because we don't share anything anymore. To actively try to maintain a relationship in spite of that can seem really stupid, but it shows that you appreciate one another simply because of who they are as a human being. And I think there's something great in that feeling. Friendships to me are some of the least transactional relationships because of that, but that is also why they can seem so difficult to build sometimes, especially the more profound ones. But honestly, the more profound ones are also the most important ones as well. Probably the only ones you truly need to have in your life, especially when you're a busy person. Like most things in life, friendships are all about quality over quantity. But also, friendships can be so dumb sometimes. We build imaginary hierarchies within our groups, and then we compete against each other within that same imaginary hierarchy we all created in our heads. We can often fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others, and not in the friendly competition kind of way, but more of the jealousy and resentment, I'll stab you behind your back type of way. Friendships are also probably way less exciting than we imagine them to be. We compare friendships to those we see on social media where they go on grand adventures together, the finest restaurants, doing everything and anything together, and every second of it being the most fun they've ever had in their lives. But a lot of the times friendships are pretty mundane. We just talk to each other, or not even. We sit in the same room just being on our phones together. I think there's something special to that as well. It adds a lot to the profoundness of relationships, just being able to be around somebody without feeling awkward, without the need to talk, without the need to fill the silence with something. Those mundane moments are very good opportunities to become closer to each other. To be vulnerable, to open yourself to another human being takes a lot of courage, but it also makes you much more true to yourself. When you find those people that accept you as who you are with all your dumb questions and stupid, idiotic actions sometimes, and you also find those people where you do the same, well, it makes you much more secure in yourself. It gives you a lot of confidence. I don't think confidence can be fully built alone. You need a lot of people to surround you to be truly confident, people that you can rely on your moments of weakness. I think there's a lot we can learn about ourselves through our interactions with other people. What you don't tolerate in others reveals much more about yourself than it does about other people. You grow a lot faster when you're surrounded by the right people. But even if I'm saying all these things about friendship, I can't really give advice on how to build friendships or how to meet people. A lot of it just comes down to dumb luck, to be in the right place at the right time, and then when you're at that right place at the right time, you also need to be in the right mood to connect with another person for, a single night. Meeting people and creating relationships is a completely different domain. I think meeting people is easier, but, maintaining that relationship is the harder part. It takes consistent effort and planning to meet with other people all the time, hoping your schedules align. God, especially when you're in your 20s and you're doing everything you can in life. It's a mess to meet with other people, but it is worth it. With the right mentality though, I think it's very possible to maintain quality relationships throughout the rest of your life. In the end, it's just two completely separate human beings hanging around each other just because it's fun. It's just people's lives colliding together for just a short moment, and that's enjoyable. I don't know why we added so much more complexity to relationships only to make it worse. There's definitely such a thing as an innocent and fun-driven friendship. The best friendships are that kind of friendship where we can just fool around with each other and not really care about other people in our own group, outside of our group. A lot of people will disagree, saying, oh, it's not reality, people are fake and manipulative, they're trying to use you, you're naive. blah blah blah. But I think we all like people who can let loose once in a while, have fun anywhere, and not care if they look stupid to other people. I think we all appreciate those kinds of people. Most people, even if they talk shit sometimes, can't help but appreciate that level of authenticity, you know, just being able to enjoy life innocently and not really care about anything. I appreciate people who are like that. I try to be like that myself. Actually, on the topic of authenticity, I think it's probably the single most important thing to building relationships. Just being honest with others, being able to speak your thoughts out loud. I appreciate every person who's honest with me about their thoughts, even if sometimes it's pretty cynical or condescending. Anyways, I think that's the message of this video. Be authentic. Sometimes I just deviate from the top. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Oh, also, yes, I did shave my hair. And no, I'm not balding. Hopefully not. My hairline is fine. You know, there's no evidence of balding. So it's not because of that. I don't know why I did it. It was just on a whim. I just wanted to cut my hair. I was tired of having long hair, and I'm sometimes too lazy to go to the barber, so I just asked my friend to give my old follicles, you know, a little cut. Also, there's an added benefit. It feels good in the shower, man.